Hello, this is about Lisa file, a script I made in Python. Well, I made with Claude, it's vibe coded, to help you get your Pascal code from your modern computer over to your Lisa workshop easier. Right now you can use some cool scripts made by Alex the cat to serial transfer scripts from a modern computer to your Lisa, but this is, I think, an easier way to do it using disk images. Now, Alex, he's created all kinds of stuff, an FPGA that emulates the Lisa. He's compiled the Lisa office system, lots of stuff. We're not going to go into that in this video. By the way, if this text is going by too fast, don't worry about it. It runs slow at the end of this video, and by then, hopefully, you've found the pause button on your video. But I want to make sure I get the thank yous in at the beginning really quick because I've just vibe coded this out of other people's work just to make a quick and easy tool that hopefully will be helpful to you. So this all got started because Alex created this brand new game for the Lisa operating system, Lisa Office system, called Minesweeper. It's the first new game perhaps in decades and just inspired me to do a little vibe coding of my own and make a few things. And so doing that, I found that a tool that copies the code onto a disk image to get to your Lisa might be easier than using the serial connection, and that's why this was created. So the secret sauce to this is that you take a floppy disk image that you'll use in some kind of disk emulator like a floppy EMU, and the disk image has to have some files already on it. Because the script isn't complex and smart enough to make its own files, you're going to overwrite existing files on the floppy disk's image. And then we'll just fill up the rest with nulls or something. So that way, it makes it easy to make a script to transfer your code from the modern computer to the Lisa, and it just writes into these already existing files. Your code has to be smaller than the file. As long as it's smaller than this file that it overwrites, you'll be fine, and it should work just good. I've tested it many times, and it's been working fine, at least for me. Hopefully, it'll work for you as well. Now, what are you going to need? Well, of course, you're going to need to have an SD card and something to read that SD card in your modern computer, and an emulator on wherever you're running your Lisa Office system, specifically the workshop. So I use a USB SD card reader. It's fast. It plugs into the USB port of my laptop, and Bob's your uncle. It's just quick and easy, works anywhere. Now you're going to also need a Lisa. Now you can use the new Lisa FPGA that was created by Alex. It's phenomenal. If you do, and you're like me and you're using a floppy EMU, you're going to need to make sure that it's set to external. And here's my floppy EMU. Now this board does have its own floppy emulator built in, but he just now released the code to make that floppy emulator work, so I haven't tried it. Plus, I'm going to let other people run the update for a few weeks before I do. I'm not going to be an early adopter for the new update of the FPGA. So if you have one of these, that might be how you're running your Lisa workshop and operating system. Or maybe you have an actual Lisa and you can plug your floppy EMU into your actual Lisa, replacing the physical real floppy drive. So you're going to need to get a floppy image. As I mentioned, just get a blank Lisa Office System 3x floppy image, put a couple of files of different sizes on it. As long as they're larger than what your code is going to be, it'll be fine. This code should also be able to write to a profile image. So if you have an ES profile hard drive emulator, which rather than the vintage antique profile or a widget, that's great. This script should work with that also, but personally I think floppies are easier, so I haven't tested it yet. So give it a try, let me know. So get a hold of your Lisa Operating System 3x 400K disk image. There should be some wherever you found this script that where you got the script we're talking about in this video. I'm going to upload it to Lisa List tonight or tomorrow, and that's probably where you're going to find this video and where you're going to find my script and a blank floppy and the manual to use this. Also, it should be on my Global Talk share if you're on the vintage Apple Talk network on the internet. Now, here's the detailed version of how it works. We're going to walk through it here. So you take your floppy image, rename it as something easy to type if you're like me, because I'm not a developer. I'm just a hobbyist having fun here. I'm an engineer that does other computer stuff. So I named my xfer, so you'll see this in the commands. Open up a command prompt in the directory where both the script and the image reside. So you've got your disk image, floppy disk image, and your script in the same folder, the same directory. Open up a command prompt. And the first thing that I do is I make sure that the Lisa file script can recognize and see that floppy image. You don't have to do this next step, but if you just do the info command, it's just kind of reassuring that it does indeed see that image there before you go in and try and run the inject, which is then our next step, is then running the inject. I'm going to speed it up here. So we're going to inject our code into the floppy image. And again, these commands are going to go by pretty quickly. You can just pause it. So we inject the xfer image, my program text, and then the original code that was on our machine was hello.txt. Now we've got the injected image. We need to copy that image file over to our SD card so we can move it to the Lisa. So we just simply copy it. Make sure you do a proper ejection from the modern computer because you might corrupt the file if you don't do this. Boot up your Lisa. Go into the workshop. Here's the cat. This is the selector, which you may or may not be running, and you want to choose a disk image to boot your Lisa up off of, which has a workshop. Here's the workshop. There's some weird stuff on mine. Just click workshop on yours, click start. It'll go right into the workshop. I don't know what that error is. It's probably because those directories I have there. So here we're in the workshop. First thing we're going to do is go into the file manager, but we have to remember to mount our floppy image. Now don't mount it before you get into the workshop because the workshop will just eject it and then you'll run into problems. So at this point, mount your floppy image using your floppy EMU or whatever your floppy emulator is. And now we're going to copy that code from that image to the internal storage of the Lisa, whether you have a widget or a profile or an ES profile or whatever you have. Bizarrely, the floppy is called lower. It's the strangest thing I've ever come across. I'm not a developer, so maybe that's a developer thing, but it's weird, but the floppy is called lower. So we're copying the myprogram.txt, which is the injected file, over to our local storage. And there it is. It says it copied it. So we're good. No errors. Now that we got it copied over, we can compile. You might want to list it first. I list the floppy here, but you're probably better off listing where you copied it to make sure the copy was okay. And I'll include some command references too with the things that you download here. All right, time to compile the code. This is where we see if it actually works. Cross your fingers. So we go into the Pascal, P for Pascal, put in the name of your text that you're going to compile. Just hit return for the other stuff unless you're making something that actually is going to go outside of the workshop. And if it compiles, and it does. So yay, it compiled. It's a short little program. Normally yours would take longer. Next thing is to link your code. Remember, I'm not a developer, so I might be not be using the right terminology here, but we need to put our libraries linked into our code before we can make an actual something that can run and execute. If you're like me and you're vibe coding, your AI will tell you what libraries you need to link. So here's my program, and then we have a couple of libraries that are needed by my code. All right, and now it's going to go do its thing. And you're going to give it the name of your executable once it's all linked together, calling it myprogx. And off it goes. Dun-dun-dun-dun. You'll see a lot of text go by. Hopefully no serious errors. I think it complains about some mouse thing or something. All right, now it's time to actually run the code and see what happens. So you type R for run inside of your workshop. Give it the name of the executable. myprogx is what I called mine. And it's just a quick little hello program. And there it is, hello from 1983. Yay, it worked. So again, this is just a walkthrough to demo how it works for you. I hope this is going to be useful to you. This is public domain. I don't claim any rights or anything. Copy, fold, spindle, delete, do whatever you want with this. Enhance it, fix bugs, give it more functionality. I just hope it's useful. So I found it really useful for myself, and I hope it'll be useful for others anyway. So I guess that's about it. Again, most of this is built on other people's stuff. I just put a few extra pieces together here. So thanks to everyone, and Lisa too, of course, Alex, and all the other people that contribute to the Lisa community. And I hope you use this yourself to contribute to the Lisa community. Thank you very much for watching this. And if you know someone this might be interesting to, please share. Thank you.